the hell? Are you stuck at home on a Saturday night with nothing to do again?
I can't take it anymore!
Then join me, my co-hosts, and my guests every Saturday evening for Mic Check Radio with Adam Hebert.
Okay.
Together we'll discuss the big news of the week from entertainment and politics, talk about the issues that are on your mind, and hey, we'll even talk about general stupidity and jackassery from the American right.
You stupid jackass!
So join me every Saturday evening, 6 to 9 p.m. Central at my Ustream home, Mic Check Radio. Come on in, it'll be loads of fun.
Gee, I sure hope there's a happy ending. I love a happy ending.
Live on all the interwebs and internets, it's Mic Check Radio with Adam Hebert.
Fuck yeah!
Hello. Okay, there we go. Now we are ready to go. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this week's edition of Mic Check Radio with Adam Hebert. I am, of course, Adam Hebert, your host. Have a seat. Stop on by. We've got pie. We're going to be talking about a lot of interesting stuff this week. Let me turn that down just a tad. We're, of course, going to be talking about Mitt Romney's little meltdown. I'm sure you all have heard about it. If you haven't, I'd be shocked. Shocked, I say. Well, not that shocked. Well, no, I would be actually quite shocked. But first, let's get our report from 538, shall we? Let me pull that up right now. Part of the problem with doing this is the news changes throughout the week. So, here we go. If the election were to be held today, Barack Obama would have a 95.8% chance of winning, with Mitt Romney having a 4.2% chance of winning. Barack Obama would win 330.2 electoral votes compared to Mitt Romney's 207.8. The projection reads that Barack Obama would win 51.8% of the popular vote compared to Mitt Romney's 46.8. If this were November 6th, this is a more conservative estimate, Barack Obama would win the election with 51.1% of the vote compared to 47.7. He would have a 75.5% chance of winning compared to Mitt Romney's 22.5% chance, and he would win 309.5 electoral votes compared to Mitt Romney's 228.5. In short, we are looking very good. Very good. Linnea from Sweden is dropping by to say hi. Hi, Linnea-san. Feel free to raid the fridge. We keep sodas, pies, and assorted sweets. Anywho. And I forgot to cover the Senate. My apologies. According to Nate Silver, we are projected to hold the Senate with 52 seats compared to Republicans' 48. Excuse me. So again, these are good numbers. Very good numbers. Let me just adjust that a bit. Very encouraging numbers, but don't become complacent. We have to get... remember what David Bender always says, and I'm really working hard on getting David Bender on the show. I desperately want to have David Bender on. Remember, he always says the election is never held today. I think the fact that Barack Obama is, look, Mitt Romney has all this money at his back. He's basically got unlimited money. Let's be honest. He's coordinating with the Kochs. He's coordinating with Karl Rove. There's coordination there. Anyone who says otherwise is a liar and a fraud. There is coordination. And the fact is, he basically has unlimited money at his disposal, and he still can't pull ahead. Now, this doesn't mean it's in the bag. We have got to act as though Barack Obama is 2 points down, or tied. Let's say tied. It's tied. This is crunch time. We got to go. We got to push hard. Push as hard as possible. Victor Rocco, wrong button. Victor Rocco points out that Barack Obama is only 3 points behind in Arizona, 4 points behind in Georgia, and 5 points behind in Montana. And that is for one simple reason, Victor. Mitt Romney is a very unlikable person. People get it. He's a douche. He's an asshole. He thinks that, let's be honest, he doesn't want to be president because he thinks he can turn the country around. He doesn't give a duck fuck about the country. He thinks it's a nice way to cap off his life. Remember, this man has been raised from the cradle with that white horse prophecy that, he's going to be the guy to redeem the Mormon faith and Joseph Smith, and he's going to win the presidency, and he's going to usher in a Mormon theocracy, forced conversions, torture, the Mormon Inquisition, basically. And, I know Kenny disagrees with me on this, but it's right there in the Book of Mormon, folks. They want, their end goal is to establish a Mormon theocracy in the United States. It's right there, black and white. So, like I said, I get it. I know people think I'm being a bit extreme when I say that, but the fact of the matter is that I don't think I am. Because, again, it is right there. What are you going to believe? Me or the teachings of the Church of, Church of Larry says, and I see Snorky is with us. Hi, Snork. So, it looks like the chat's letting you in for a change. That's nice. So, let's kick things off by talking about Clint Eastwood. He did an appearance on, I believe, Entertainment Tonight this week, talking about his, talking about the chair incident, whereupon he looked like a batshit crazy old man talking to an empty chair. And, so he had this to say, and I think it's actually very interesting. Take a listen.
Yeah.
And they work that way, and there's no reason to tamper with it.
Did you ever think, out of all the moments at both the Democratic and the Republican National Conventions, that your speech would still be...
My apologies. This is an interview with Extra's Jerry Panacoli. So he's kin. He's Italian.
What everyone is talking about?
I didn't think. I don't know. You get a lot of people bugged at you.
Well, are they bugged at you? What kind of feedback did you get?
No, people loved it or hated it, and that's fine. That's what it's supposed to be. Yeah. That was a reaction. Supposed to be. I just was having fun. You figure somebody's asked you to go to if somebody's dumb enough to ask me to go to a political convention and say something, they're going to have to take what they get.
Who asked you? Did Mitt ask you personally?
Yeah, I think...
all right, let's stop. Let's stop here. If someone's dumb enough to ask me to do a political convention, they better take what I give them. Clint Eastwood just said Mitt Romney is an idiot. We all knew that, but and look, I think the reason why Clint Eastwood did it, I'm with Stephanie Miller. I think he had a lot of his uber conservative buddies say, "Hey, you can't be talking up Obama." After his it's halftime in America, commercial. And they were mad, and they're like, we're not going to bankroll your movies anymore, Clint. And Clint said, okay, I'll do this. I don't think he's in the tank for either side. I do know that the man, he's pro-choice, he's pro-gay marriage, he's for the American auto industry. Which candidate is against all of those? Where is it? Which candidate was against all that? The conservatives are dominated by the religious right, and they're against abortion and the gays. And Mitt Romney wrote an article in the New York Times saying, let Detroit go bankrupt. So, what the fuck was he doing? I think he was just like, I'm going to do this, and he did it very tongue-in-cheek. I mean, I don't think he's in the tank for Barack Obama. I don't think he hates him as much as he came off. It was an act. Here's some more.
Yeah, some of his people asked him, and I like him. I think he's a good guy.
Wait a minute, Mitt Romney did not pick up the phone and call you personally?
No, but I met with him and talked with him.
Don't you think it's classy that...
Let's pause there. I was raised to believe that if you want a favor from someone, you ask them personally. If you can't get a hold of them face to face, you at least call them. One-on-one, say, I need this favor. Will you help me out? Ask War. If I want him on, I'm not asking him in our group chat. I'm asking him privately. It's a form of common courtesy. Mitt Romney doesn't even have basic common courtesy. Have a good night, Linnea. Please, I hope one day you'll be able to join us for a full show. I understand you're quite a bit ahead of us, but if you ever have insomnia, please be my guest. Be my guest. No, okay, I'm sure we've enough. Anyway, here is more of Clint Eastwood on Extra.
See that Obama still has really nice things to say about you, though?
I don't think he really does.
Oh, he does. He's called you a legend, an icon, and he was very gracious with his comments.
Well, I think he can be very gracious when he wants to be. That's fine. Yeah. And I have no problem with him at all. I just have a problem with the situation we're in right now. There's nothing personal.
Yeah.
If you have a problem with the situation right now, why the fuck are you supporting the Republicans, you senile old bastard? I mean, seriously. He must be going senile because it's not Barack Obama's fault that nothing will get through Congress. Here's more.
When he came in, I thought it was great. I thought the multiculturalism, multiracialism was great, all that kind of stuff. But to me, it's just about the work.
What do you think Romney will do to change things?
Hopefully, be a little more organized, a little more business-wise. And I'd like to see politicians, all of them, regardless of what party, I'd just like to see them less time on TV and more time in the office.
Then you should be supporting Barack Obama. Don't blame Barack Obama for the Republicans' jackassery. John Fugelsang says blaming Barack Obama for this economy is like blaming your hangover on the guy making breakfast. He's right. You know, it's like I hear these clips and I just...
Expletive deleted.
Whoa, I need to turn up the volume on my box.
Expletive deleted.
Mom fears my calls because this show is such a big part of my life. I always talk about whenever I call home, I say, motherfucking, mother... And she doesn't like that sort of language. It's like, well, Mom... It's the world we live in. Let's round out Clint Eastwood.
I'd like to just see some people working. It comes a point when you got to stop the rhetoric.
Right.
Stop the teleprompters and reading speeches that somebody else probably wrote. And that goes for all of them.
Okay, first of all, Mr. Eastwood, It is a fact that Barack Obama writes his own speeches. I almost said Michelle Bachmann. Oops. Michelle Obama writes her own speeches. Please stop with this both sides do it bullshit. Thank you. And again, you talk about, I want them to work together. Then you need to come down on the Republicans whose stated goal from day one was to destroy Barack Obama's presidency. I mean, seriously, what is with this guy? Is he that blind? Was he in that much trouble with his rich fucker friends that he felt the need to basically sell his soul to Mitt Romney? A man who, you know, he probably agrees with Mitt Romney on taxes, because what rich fucker doesn't? But he doesn't agree with Mitt Romney on anything else. I'm telling you, I think someone... Oops. Sorry about that. I think someone pulled him to the side and said, Clint, you either make this right or we're not going to bankroll your movies anymore. I respect Clint Eastwood. I think he's an awesome actor. He's an American icon. But what the fuck is wrong with him? Is he this blind? Is he that blind that he can't see the basic facts of the situation? I'm a liberal Democrat, but I'm not in the tank for Barack Obama. There are things he's done that I disagree with. Doesn't mean I'm going to go out and vote for Mitt Romney. Who is it that said, voting for Mitt Romney is like saying, he didn't cure cancer, I'm going to vote for cancer? I think that's Chris Rock. Republicans are a cancer on the body politic of America. I'm just saying it like it is. They are a cancer. You do not negotiate with cancer. You don't talk to it. You don't say, please don't hurt me. You cut it out. You kill it. You poison it. You rip it out. And the thing that pisses me off the most about President Obama is he honestly thinks that if he wins re-election, the Republicans are going to magically work with him. Oh, we see the error of our ways, President Obama. No, President Obama. They don't care about the country. They don't care about you or me. They care about power. That's it. Power. If they cared, if they cared about anything else, they would be working. And they'd be saying, yeah, we got problems with President Obama, but we're still going to...
Smarter than seven.
Oops. My mistake. Sorry. But again, how many times, it's like, whatever happened to the concept of once bit, twice shy? Whatever happened to, how many times does Barack Obama have to get bit by the Republicans before he realizes they just are going to bite no matter what? Anywho, I don't get it. And I don't understand. Like I said, if this were normal election, if this were, if there were no Citizens United, Barack Obama would be ahead. No problem. No questions asked. It's beyond question. He would be, winning. So my question is, so why can't, Mitt has all this money. Revron points out that, first of all, that Romney seems to be having some abandonment issues lately, and that Obama is the best Republican president since Clinton, and Clinton got impeached for his bipartisanship. Yeah. Sorry, guys. We asked for an FDR, we got us a Clinton. That's like, okay, we got the bleeding stopped. We need replacement blood now. And of course, President Obama isn't replacing the blood. So, yeah. Anywho, just so you know, Wes Smith was originally going to co-host with me tonight, and unfortunately he had to cancel. What we're going to do is, I've already told him we're not going to reschedule for next week. We're going to reschedule him for whenever he I can't, basically whenever he is, whenever he knows for a fact, he can make it for sure, because this is the second time he's bailed on me, leaving me high and dry, and what can I say? He did it again. I'm not mad, slightly perturbed, but that's okay. It happens. Shit happens. Anywho. Wes Karskadin, the most badass co-host in Liberal Talk Radio, should be here sometime within the next hour, probably before 7:30, 8:30 Eastern. We have no planned guests. It's just me and West, and we're gonna have some fun. We're not gonna talk about Mitt's little issue until later when Wes gets here, because this is just too much to hand. I don't want to do it on my own. Gotta give Wes. Hey, Paul. I gotta let Wes in on this. I would be mean if I didn't. Anywho, this is Mike Check Radio with Adam Hebert. We will be back in a few moments. Your music for this break is called Fear and Sufferance, and it is a remix of the Legend of Zelda theme. I like this one a lot. I hope you do too. We'll be back in about 5 minutes.
Let's share the milk of human kindness.
You're listening to Adam Hebert on Mike Check Radio.
Hi, friends. This is Tom Hartman.
This is Stephanie Miller.
Hey, this is Hal Sparks.
I'm Brad Friedman. I approve of Nicole Sandler's RadioOrNot.com.
Radio or Not.
Radio or Not.
RadioOrNot.com.
RadioOrNot.com.
RadioOrNot.com. RadioOrNot.com.
It's the HowdyLand.com News Bulletin with Stan Douglas. Go to HowdyLand.com and click on the Funny Times special offer to receive your free sample issue today.
Republican National Committee Chairman Reince Priebus was overcome by a seemingly hypnotic fit of desire today while addressing members of the so-called mainstream media. Fixing his gaze on a point far beyond the press room, Priebus suddenly went way off script.
Bitches! Bitches!
After a protracted struggle with several reporters, Priebus was forcibly restrained and induced to spit out several gold wedding bands he had chewed from reporters' fingers. This HowdyLand.com news bullet is totally organic, which means that upon hearing it, you will be better than others. I'm Stan Douglas.
Heinz Priebus!
Hi, this is Kenny Pick from Turn Up the Night. Here are some of the hijinks you can expect from my show. We just got done listening to several clips about the Romney fundraisers over the weekend, and I invented the murder finger. It's an offspring of the murder fist. It just happens to be the murder fist with the middle finger extended.
Well, I'm ahead of you because I've had a hate finger for many years.
Hate finger.
Hate finger. The man with the malcontent's touch.
Yes. Turn Up the Night with Kenny Pick, streaming live every Tuesday and Friday from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern at Radio or Not, Talk Radio 1, Progressive Blend Radio, and KennyPick.com.
Mike Check Radio.
You do always come back.
This is Mike Check Radio with Adam Hebert.
Yes, we are back. Break one done. No major epic. First segment was definitely not
an epic fail.
So I am very thankful for that. And I forget, who was that last Howdyland News Bullet about?
Heinz Priebus!
Oh, right. Thank you very much, Jim Ward. Darn it. Snark said something during the break that I would like to quote. He said, Snork Y2K, our good friend Snorky, says, the economy is not going to improve until we realize that we live in the USA, and that our government's job is to do our bidding and provide for us, not the world. End free trade and start fair trade. I agree. And he also points out that if we had cut back the space program in 1972, we would already be mining all the rare earth metals from asteroids that we have to beg China for. Again, yeah, but we don't respect... Okay, good, my mic is hot. We don't respect intelligence, Snork. That's the problem. I go to school at the University of Illinois. When I came here, I had a 3.5 GPA. All I qualified for in terms of scholarships is a $5,000 a year. It's not even $5,000 a year. I'd have to look at the exact amount. It's like $4,500 a year. The rest of my financial aid comes from federal aid, loans, Pell, etc. If I were a football player with a 2.0 GPA, I wouldn't be going hungry every day because I can only afford one meal on my plan. You know, my meal covers me for 6 meals a week. That's one meal a day for 6 days, and then I'm on my own for the seventh day. So I'm going hungry every day, while the football players get a free ride. That is the perfect illustration for what is wrong with our country. You know, we care about the fucking football players. If you're smart, though, if you work hard to get your grades, if you're an A student, I'm an AB student, fuck you. You're not worth anything to us. You don't bring in money. The football team brings in money. And look what happens when we give all this power to the coaches and the football players. Penn State happens. Penn State is a perfect illustration about you know, if you're a football player, if you're a football coach, the university will look the other way for you because you're worth more money to them. Me? I starve. I don't get a free ride. So anyway, let's talk about Operation Rescue, shall we? Of course, Operation Rescue, Randall Terry's old outfit. Randall Terry being another one of those Christian terrorists that don't exist. Where are my bookmarks? I'm sorry, I'm having some issues. My show prep isn't displaying the way it's supposed to. Sorry. So let's talk about Operation Rescue. They are eating their own, ladies and gentlemen. I love this story. They are targeting the Republican Attorney General of Kansas. Kansas, as you know, currently under the iron-fisted dictatorship of Sam, you all are gonna obey my Pope, Brownback. Operation Rescue is targeting Kansas's Republican Attorney General and Republican District Attorney with ethics charges after the two dropped felony charges against Planned Parenthood. They are eating their own, folks. We don't even have to wait until November 6th, November 7th, for the cannibalism to begin. The cannibalism is already starting. The article goes on to state, on Tuesday, Operation Rescue filed complaints with the state's Attorney Ethics Board against Attorney General Derek Schmidt and Johnson County District Attorney Steve Howe, saying that Planned Parenthood charges were dropped under false pretenses. How would they know? How would they know? And Sam, now let's keep in mind, remember what I said about this. Oops. Sorry about that. Sam Brownback is one of these hyper-Christians. His Christian penis is the biggest Christian penis of them all, and he's going to show it to you by making you obey his Pope, whether you're Catholic or not. So where is this information coming from? The governor, who is on the record as being sympathetic to Operation Rescue's cause. He is a vocal supporter of Operation Rescue. Operation Rescue is, of course, a terrorist organization. They have participated in terrorist activities. They have supported terrorism, Christian terrorism. Scott Roeder, remember, Scott Roeder, the man who assassinated George Tiller, was found with Operation Rescue's number, a private line. He was found with that number when he was arrested. So, where is Operation Rescue getting this money, and why does anyone care? Why is, if I were the Attorney General, I would just say, you know what, fuck you. Operation Rescue does not run the state of Kansas. So fuck you. Go pound sand, as Hal Sparks would say. But of course, he's a Republican, so he's an absolute coward. and he is going to beg for, throw himself. The article states this is a 107 count case, the case that they're upset about, and it was brought by former Johnson County District Attorney Phil Klein in 2007, and it accused the clinic of performing abortions past the legal gestational age in Kansas, to which I say the laws in Kansas don't count. The Supreme Court has already said you can't limit it beyond what we've outlined. The most serious ethics allegations against Howe and Schmidt from Operation Rescue involve statements Howe made in November during a hearing before Johnson County District Judge Stephen Tatum. Howe said he could not prosecute the most serious 49 charges against Planned Parenthood, including the felonies, because in April 2009, the Attorney General's Office, under Schmidt's predecessor, destroyed key documents related to the case in its possession. So what? No evidence? No case. Sorry, it's like, there's another great story later out of Pennsylvania. They're doing the same thing. I've said it before. Conservatism is the ideology of bullies. They're going to do whatever it takes to get their way. And the reason why they get results with Republicans is because Republicans are a bunch of pussies. They don't have a spine. They don't have courage. If Mitt Romney had true courage, he would have been out there in Vietnam instead of protesting to send other kids to Vietnam and then going to hide in a castle in France. Mitt Romney, you gigantic pussy. Operation Rescue contends that Howe misled Tatum and the public, and according to its complaint against the Attorney General, it occurred without any further comment or correction from Schmidt. Proof? Where's your proof? Where is your proof? Of course, they don't have any. They're just being ginned up by Sam Brownback, who is basically doing what his Nazi Pope tells him to do. We now have at least one state in this union that has basically been reduced to a vassal of a Nazi Pope, of a man who shoved Jews into ovens and gas chambers during World War II. And no one will do anything about it. Yeah, I called Pope Benedict a Nazi. He was. Oh, he was only 16. He was old enough to know the difference between right and wrong. It was mandatory to be part of the Hitler Youth. Hide. Engage in civil disobedience. You know the difference between right and wrong, you dumb fuck. I was raised Catholic. I have respect for Pope John Paul II. He was a man of principle. I have no respect for Benedict. Benedict is the guy who is shuffling pedophile priests from parish to parish. Because the only thing that mattered was the church, not the babies whose lives they destroyed. let's talk about, we talked about this guy last week. Come on. No. We talked about this guy last week. You may remember that I talked about, Kamal Salim. If you don't, here he is from a clip from last week. Take a listen.
How do you change a terrorist? Introduce him to Jesus.
So again, in this guy's world, you can't be a Christian and be a terrorist. Excuse me. Well, so apparently this guy has been going around to Christian groups for the past 7 years or so, basically saying I'm a change terrorist because I accepted Jesus. Never mind the fact that all of this country's greatest terrorists, Timothy McVeigh, Shelley Shannon, Eric Robert Rudolph, Scott Roeder, they were Christian. Timothy McVeigh was a Christian. So he goes around saying, I was a Muslim terrorist, blah, 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 but I'm changed now because I've accepted Jesus. He says, quote, I started working for whoever paid the best to advance Islamism. Saddam Hussein pays better money than anybody else. He was very generous. Saddam Hussein was a secular dictator, you stupid asshole. Salim said that as a child he, quote, dreamed about killing Jews and Christians, end quote, after being told by his mother in Lebanon that it was a sacred duty. From there, he claims, he went on to recruit new talent from the Muslim Brotherhood, study how to properly immigrate to Western countries and infiltrate them with jihadist propaganda, smuggle explosives for PLO leader Yasser Arafat, and run a Libyan terrorist training camp for Muammar Gaddafi, all before reaching adulthood. Now, if you're a normal person, and by normal I mean you have a functioning brain, you're starting to think, wait a minute. They had some kid running a training camp for terrorists? Are they out of their fucking mind? The short answer is, of course, if you have a kid running your terrorism training camp, yes, you're out of your fucking mind.
You're mental, aren't you?
So, basically, he claims, for example, he has helped the FBI, that he was on the FBI terrorism watch list, and there is no proof of any of his claims. But they found people who doubt what he says, and these are friends, family. Kamal Salim's real name is Kodar Shami, and before he started going around to these Christian meetings saying, I'm a reformed terrorist, praise Jesus, he worked for Pat Robertson's Christian Broadcasting Network and James Dobson's Focus on the Family. And despite Salim's claims that the FBI relies on him for insight into jihadist thinking, they say they have never heard of him. A 2008 expose by CNN's Anderson Cooper found similar holes in his story, which paralleled other equally dubious figures making their living off the ex-terrorist talk circuit. So, of course, basically what they're saying is, he's a con man. He's a flim-flam artist. But he's telling people what they want to hear. Because, again, these Christians, the values voters, they say there's no such thing as a Christian terrorist. Along comes this guy who tells them what they want to hear, and they eat it up. They are all over his shit like flies on shit. So why isn't this guy in jail? Either he's a confessed terrorist, and last I checked, there is no... I did some research into this, and I could not find any evidence. Yes, Reverend 52 asked, wasn't Ryan just at a speaking engagement with this guy? Yes, he was at the Values Voters Summit with this guy. In fact, we have some audio from last week. I played it, but... Let's hear some of the bullshit this guy shoveled, shall we? Here is Kamal Salim talking about Hillary Clinton's conspiracy.
Egypt is the capital of the OIC. The OIC here in the United States of America meeting with Hillary and her staff. They're about to introduce UN Resolution 1618, the hate crime bill, which will subjugate American people to be arrested and put to jail, and their churches and synagogues shut down and go underground. And if they will still go, they will put in jail, will be fined big time, and it will break the First Amendment and the Second Amendment. This is about to be put as early as January.
Okay, so, first of all, he's a shameless liar. And let me tell you this, if I ever met this guy, and keep in mind that I have a bad back. Yeah, I know, I'm 31 years old and I have a bad back. My knees hurt. I'm a short, ill-tempered Italian American who wears steel-toed boots because they're the only shoe with a wide enough sole to fit his ginormous feet. If I met Kamal Salim, my first thing would be to say,
"Don't make me go to the larder and unseal a tin of whoop-ass."
My second reaction would be to give him a swift kick to the genitals. Paul Green wants to know how tall I am. I am just under 5'6". I'm a short guy. I come from short people. And I'm like, my dad's the tallest person in our family. He's like maybe 6 feet. So we're short. But I'm a short, ill-tempered Italian who wears steel-toed boots. And I'd give this guy a swift kick to his dick. So let's hear some more of Kamal Salim's delusions as soon as I find it.
When we came and moved to the United States of America, start penetrating the United States, your university and colleges where you're sending your children were our playground. That's there we received them and we changed them. We return them against you. We met the professors and we were helping the professors to establish new curriculum purposely to change your world from within. We are not interested to hit your building with airplanes, but we are changing your children to hit your nation with everything they've got, with the money that you raised them with. While your children went out there and they were feed for the wolves, America slept.
Wow. This guy is a piece of work. He's a liar, of course, too. But, remind me, Paul, Vic, remind me Monday to ask my Japanese sensei why he hates America and why he's teaching me to make war against my country. I'm sure he'll be curious to know where I'm getting this from. This guy is a con artist! There's no there's no... If this guy... I don't... He should be in jail! When the FBI says, never heard of this guy, never heard of this schmuck, a smart but again, he's telling these hyper-Christians, these Christians who say, my Christian dick is bigger than your non-Christian dick. It's okay. Anywho, we will be back. This is going to be another break. I'm sorry. This break's music piece is a remix of Magus' theme from Chrono Trigger. It's called Atonement. Enjoy.
And we are at an impasse.
I'm afraid so. I can't compete with you physically, and you're no match for my brains.
You're that smart.
Let me put it this way. Have you ever heard of Plato, Aristotle, Socrates?
Adam Hebert.
Yes?
Morons.
You're listening to Adam Hebert and Mike Check Radio.
you want talk, go to the other guys. If you want conversation, go to Ray Medeiros at usaprogressive.com.
Corporations are people, my friend. We can raise taxes, and of course they are. Everything corporations earn ultimately goes to people.
Corporations are not people. Corporations are property. The last time people were property in this country, we fought a civil war.
usaprogressive.com. The conversation starts here.
It's the HowdyLand.com News Bulletin with Stan Douglas. Go to HowdyLand.com and click on the Funny Time special offer to receive your free sample issue today.
GOP presidential candidate Mitt Romney is neither human nor mammal, but he is in fact a somewhat highly evolved and totally blind cavefish with an uncanny gift for human mimicry. This unsavory truth was revealed earlier today as the former governor attempted to cross a room full of empty buckets to suck on the head of a small baby. Romney's hideously scarred spokespersons had no other comment than the former governor has now retreated down one of his numerous multi-million-dollar drains to feed. This HowdyLand.com news bullet was brought to you by the First Amendment, which we won't really go into here. I'm Stan Douglas.
You never know who or what you'll hear when you listen to the Nicole Sandler Show at RadioOrNot.com.
Alan Grayson, you're the best. We love you. We need you back in Congress, and I'm here to do whatever I can to make that happen in my own little way.
Thanks. I enjoyed the time with you personally. I wish that the listeners could get to know you the way that I know you and understand that you're the same person off the air as you are on the air. It's not some kind of shtick. You really do care greatly about all the important things in life, and you understand that sometimes people just need a helping hand.
Yeah.
And that the world, as John Kennedy said, doesn't start out there. You have to make it that way.
The Nicole Sandler Show, live Monday through Thursdays at 10 a.m. Eastern, or podcast anytime at RadioOrNot.com.
The hell? Are you stuck at home on a Saturday night with nothing to do again?
I can't take it anymore!
Then join me, my co-hosts, and my guests every Saturday evening for Mic Check Radio with Adam Hebert. Okay. Together we'll discuss the big news of the week from entertainment and politics, talk about the issues that are on your mind, and hey, we'll even talk about general stupidity and jackassery from the American right.
You stupid jackass!
So join me every Saturday evening, 6 to 9 p.m. Central at my Ustream home, Mic Check Radio. Come on in, it'll be loads of fun.
Gee, I sure hope there's a happy ending. I love a happy ending.
And now, live on your computer machine, it's Adam Hebert with Mic Check Radio.
Fuck yeah!
You know, Captain, every year of my life, I grow more and more convinced that the wisest and best is to fix our attention on
Mic Check Radio. Radio.
if you'll just take the time to look at it.
Here's some guy, McConnell.
Hey, it's Mic Check Radio with Adam Hebert.
And we are back. We're going to be talking a little bit about the Pennsylvania voter ID case. I tried to get Brad Friedman of bradblog.com on, and he did not answer my emails. I'm just assuming it got lost. Brad's a cool guy, so I'm pretty sure he would have been here. So let's talk about this. Where is story headline? Pennsylvania Supreme Court casts doubt on voter ID law. Oops. This is very good news. I'm going to turn down my mic just a tad. How do I sound, guys? How do I sound? I think my mic's a bit hot. If I sound too soft or too weak, just say so and I'll turn it back up. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court cast serious doubt on the state's voter ID law on Tuesday, ordering a lower court to rethink its decision upholding the law earlier this year. And by earlier this year, they mean in August. In a 4-2 ruling, the justices ordered the lower court to block the law unless Pennsylvania can prove it is currently providing liberal access to voter identification cards and that there will be no voter disenfranchisement on Election Day. The two dissenters opposed the voter ID law and wanted the Supreme Court to issue an injunction itself. So that's really good. If this is the compromise, which is basically sending it back to the lower court and saying, if they cannot prove what they say, which is there will be no, we're giving them access to voter ID, we're giving them access to, access to voter ID, it's not going to differ. If Pennsylvania cannot prove these statements quantifiably, you have to issue an injunction against this law. So this is very good news. The ruling said there was a quote-unquote disconnect between what the law prescribes and how it was actually being implemented. Yes. It said an ambitious effort to implement identification procedures in a short time frame has by no means been seamless in light of the serious operational constraints faced by the executive branch. The court did, however, say that they felt that state officials were proceeding in good faith, but the justices also said they were not satisfied making a mere productive judgment based primarily on the assurances of government officials. Wise choice, because as I've always said, repeatedly I've said on this program, the truth to a conservative is what the cross is to a vampire. It's like holy water. You want to shut a conservative up? You got some facts? Where's your proof? Can you prove that? And their head just goes kaboosh. And of course, I don't have an explosion sound effect. I need to get an explosion sound effect in my box. So again, this is really great news. Chances are this law will not be in effect in Pennsylvania come Election Day. The lower court was told to consider whether the procedures being used for deployment of the cards comport with the requirement of liberal access, which the General Assembly attached to the issuance of PennDOT identification cards. So again, good news. It could be worse, don't get me wrong. But this is good news. And of course, if you ask me, the court relied on some stupid-ass ideas in their ruling upholding this case. From thinkprogress.org, one of my personal favorites, by the way, the law that the Pennsylvania lower court, the court cited in the 1869 case of Patterson versus Barlow, which Professor Jesse Allen points out serves as a blatant example of anti-democratic voter suppression alleged by the plaintiffs in the voter ID case. The law approved in Patterson, the article states, enacted a complicated set of registration procedures for Philadelphia, with its large working class and immigrant populations, and a simpler procedure for the rest of the state. So, one set of rules for the people they like, one set of rules for the people they don't. The opinion justifies a tougher process for Philadelphia voters because, quote, rogues and strumpets do not nightly traverse the deserted highways of the farmer, low inns, restaurants, sailors' boarding houses, and houses of ill fame do not abound in rural precincts, ready to pour out on election day their pestilent hordes. That is a quote from the law that was cited to uphold their the voter ID law. And just so you know, strumpet is an oldie-fashioned term for whore. Prostitute, basically. For good measure, the court explained that to overturn the tighter procedure for Philadelphia voters would be to place the vicious vagrant, the wandering Arab, the Turner hordes of our large cities on a level with the virtuous and good man. So, you have them referencing, to uphold this case, a law which illustrates exactly what is wrong, exactly why people don't like this law. To which any sane person would say,
"You, my friend, are just a few plums short of a fruit pie."
And what I would say to the Republican Party is,
"Boy, you are really starting to lose it, kid."
Oops. Come on. But wait, there's more. I'm sure you guys will remember this little clip. I played this back in, I believe, July. I don't keep track. I should probably keep records. But here is Mike Turzai in Pennsylvania.
Voter ID, which is going to allow Governor Romney to win the state of Pennsylvania. Done.
Boom! He just admitted what the voter ID law is about. This law should never have been upheld under any precedent because...
Voter ID, which is going to allow Governor Romney to win the state of Pennsylvania. Done.
The head of the Pennsylvania legislature was going around stating this law had a partisan purpose. That makes it illegal on its face. Now, I appreciate what the Supreme Court did here. The fact of the matter is they should have struck it down to begin with. When you have an official going around saying...
Voter ID, which is going to allow Governor Romney to win the state of Pennsylvania. Done.
Confessing the law has a partisan purpose that makes said law invalid. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court should have struck it down. Victor Rocco says what Momo said, referencing my,
"You, my friend, are just a few plums short of a fruit pie."
Yes, I mined Avatar for a bunch of great clips, including insults. And I had one... Oh, here's...
Well, that sounds really shallow and stupid.
I need to cut that one a bit more, because it keeps going on. Let's try it. And actually, I may have to play something for Vic later. I'm gonna play something for Vic. Stick around for the after show, please. I'm gonna play something for you later. If I can find it. But again, so here comes a man, what's his name? Daryl Metcalf, comes along saying, here's what Daryl Metcalf had to say.
Ultimately, the burden isn't on the state to make sure that every individual does what they do to get their ID card. I mean, individuals have certain responsibilities in securing their ID. They have to present the documents needed. The state doesn't have that burden. I think the individual does, and I think it ultimately is a great travesty of justice to violate the rights of millions to have their legally cast vote protected for the special interests of a few individuals that are too lazy to get out there and get done what they have to get their ID card.
Okay, are you absolutely convinced, and do you have assurances, and can you give us assurances that the methods to implement this law are effective and will in fact make sure that no legitimate voter will be disenfranchised?
Yes. I don't believe any legitimate voter that actually wants to exercise that right and takes on the according responsibility that goes with that right to secure their photo ID will be disenfranchised. You know, we have, as Mitt Romney said, I mean, we have 40-some% of the people that are living off the public dole, living off of their neighbors' hard work, and we have a lot of people out there that are too lazy to get off and to get up and get out there and get the ID they need. So, I mean, if individuals are too lazy, the state can't fix that. But the process is put in place to get an ID card. There's a free ID available if somebody needs one, and there's a process they have to go through. They have to present certain documents. That's the way it should be.
No, Mr. Metcalf, that isn't the way it should be. You cannot put restrictions, you cannot attach strings to a fundamental civil right. You can't say Adam Hebert can have his free speech if blank. That's not the way it works.
You noodle brains don't know what you're doing.
So, and of course he had to reference here is what Momo said. Rev.
You, my friend, are just a few plums short of a fruit pie.
I love that quote. You don't get to attach strings to a fundamental civil right. Sorry. But the story just keeps getting better. From Ian Millhiser, Tea Party threatens revenge against Pennsylvania justices for not upholding voter ID law. In other words, the Tea Party, as they always do when they don't get their way, but we're supposed to win! We're the Teabaggers! Tea Party threatens revenge against Pennsylvania justices for not upholding voter ID. First, fucko, let me nail this. Let me drill this into your head. You don't get to make threats of revenge. If I were one of the judges here, guilty of threatening a judge, go to ass pounding prison. Because that's what they're doing. Ian Millhiser. A Tea Party group is now threatening to, quote, exact revenge upon the state Supreme Court for refusing to uphold a law that prevents many low-income student and minority voters from casting a ballot. That's another thing about this law. It basically, okay. It says, for example, a gun owner ID, a FOID card, a firearms owner identification card, is valid. Student ID isn't. What's the difference between a FOID card and a student ID card. Let's think. They're both issued by by an entity related to the government. I've got it. Student ID has photos. That's right, folks. I've had to handle FOID cards because I worked at Walmart. FOID cards, firearms owner identification cards, do not have photographs of the person on them. That tells you all you need to know about this law. It was passed for the express purpose of keeping people Republicans don't want to vote from voting. Period. End of discussion. Fuck you, you stupid knuckle-dragging asshole teabaggers. Ian Millhiser continues. A Philadelphia area Tea Party group says it will work to defeat 2 state Supreme Court justices next year if the state's new voter identification law isn't in effect for the November 6th election. Again, you do not get to go making threats, little man. Especially against justices. I'm sorry, Rev. I apologize. I was being insensitive. I should have remembered your past. I apologize. You do not get to make threats and say, what the hell? You know, like that. I'm sorry. That's not the way the world works. Ian Millhiser points out that Chief Justice Ronald Castillo, Republican, and Justice Max Baer are each finishing a 10-year term in January 2014. This is why the Founding Fathers said that if you're a federal judge, it's a lifetime appointment, and they can't mess with your pay. This is exactly the sort of bullshit the Founding Fathers knew the Republicans would pull, given the chance. These kinds of campaigns of vengeance against justices who place the law ahead of conservative policy preferences are increasingly common. 2 years ago, a Florida Tea Party group launched a similar revenge campaign after the Florida Supreme Court kept an unconstitutional ballot initiative attempting to nullify the Affordable Care Act off the ballot. Similarly, anti-gay groups poured hundreds of thousands of dollars into a successful effort to remove 3 Iowa Supreme Court justices because they had the audacity to recognize that the state's constitution does not permit discrimination against gay couples. In other words, because these justices are doing what they are supposed to do, they're being targeted by a bunch of stupid assholes for revenge. That's all the Tea Party has, folks. Idle threats of revenge. Give us what we want or we will destroy you. If we can't destroy you at the ballot box, we'll shoot you. If you survive, we will make it so you can't get health care. If you get health care, we will make it so you wish you were dead. That is all the Tea Party and the conservative philosophy has to offer you. That's it. Alright, this is the Green News Report break. We will be back in about 8 minutes. Please enjoy
It's Thursday, September 20, 2012. It's Thursday, September 20, 2012.
We are at last standing at a brand new start line.
Not so fast. Japan reverses course on nuclear phase-out.
We have 250 years of coal. Why wouldn't we use it?
Romney and the Republicans fight for big coal.
It was our decision, and we made the decision not to pay the people for the day.
With unpaid labor.
In some places in Maine, they're selling for as low as $1.25 a pound. Now that's
new record hot ocean temperatures causing a glut of lobsters. Plus,
it's necessary to stop this pipeline.
Putting their bodies on the line to stop the Keystone XL pipeline.
All of that and more straight ahead. From BradBlog.com, I'm Brad Friedman.
And I'm Desi Doyen.
Stand by for 6 minutes of independent green news, politics, analysis, and snarky comment.
I'm Mitt Romney, and I approve this message.
Oh, I doubt it. This is your Green News Report. Okay, Des, a lot to cover today.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm tossing it right to you. What do you have for us today?
Oh, yeah. Well, that was fast. We reported on Tuesday the Japanese government had announced it would phase out all nuclear power by 2040. But then, after heavy pressure from business and industry groups who say the policy will raise their energy costs, on Wednesday, the Japanese cabinet suddenly abandoned that deadline.
So on Tuesday, they were going to phase out all nukes by 2040, though there were some loopholes.
Oh, yes.
It was otherwise goodish news until Wednesday when they reversed the whole thing.
Right. And in contrast to Japanese businesses and industry, the Japanese public overwhelmingly supports phasing out nuclear power.
Well, who cares about them? Industry comes first.
Here in the U.S., Republicans are working hard for big coal this week. House Republicans have put up a slate of new bills promoting coal and attacking the EPA that they acknowledge will go nowhere and are just to score political points before the election. Energy analysts say that a steep drop in the use of coal in the U.S. is due to electric companies taking advantage of a glut of cheaper, cleaner natural gas. But Republicans and the Romney campaign are trying to blame the Obama administration for the drop in coal profits, like this new ad from the Romney campaign.
They're wanting to close these mines down.
We have 250 years of coal. Why wouldn't we use it?
Because the free market says no. We're using the cheaper stuff instead.
That's exactly right. And I also want to point out that the coal miners that are standing behind Romney in that television campaign ad were required to attend that campaign event by their employer, Murray Energy. But the coal company refused to pay them for that day that they were forced out of work, as confirmed by Murray Energy's own Rob Moore.
We had managers that communicated to our workforce that the attendance at the Romney event was mandatory, but no one was forced to attend the event. As a private employer, it was our decision, and we made the decision not to pay the people for the day.
So it was mandatory to attend, but nobody was forced to attend?
Yeah, just try to figure that one out.
And they didn't pay them.
That's right.
Mitt Romney is using slave labor in his campaign commercials.
They got to lose a day's pay for the privilege of standing behind Romney.
Well, that gives a new meaning to free market, doesn't it?
A group of protesters today chained themselves to construction equipment to delay construction on the Keystone XL pipeline.
Fighting to stop the Keystone XL pipeline, although the northern portion of the controversial Keystone XL pipeline from Canada is on hold pending a new environmental review, construction of the southern leg of the pipeline is underway in Texas. Canadian pipeline company TransCanada has won numerous eminent domain court proceedings against Texas ranchers and homeowners who refused to sell. Protesters with tar sands action in East Texas are chaining themselves now to Keystone construction equipment, temporarily halting work, tearing up trees and land for the pipeline, says tar sands activist Ron Seifert.
We hope to stop this pipeline. It's necessary to stop this pipeline. It's a threat to our constitutional rights. It's a threat to our future. And those directly impacted here on the ground, it's a threat to their families' health, safety, and security. Tar sands pipelines have been leaking ever since they came online a few years ago. They're not to be trusted. They're untested. Even our national regulators don't know what to do with tar sands yet.
Finally, it's not just a record year for shocking Arctic ice melt. It's also a record year for hot ocean temperatures in the North Atlantic. NOAA scientists on Tuesday recorded the hottest ocean temperatures off the coast of the Northeast on record that reach all the way down to the ocean floor. The record warm ocean temperatures have further disrupted the already ailing commercial fishing industry in the Northeast, leading to a record massive glut of lobster that's caused the market to crash and is hurting struggling lobstermen.
So, global warming bad news for fishermen, delicious news for lobster fans.
Exactly.
For more of that bright side to global warming, check out our website at greennews.bradblog.com. While you're there, please consider a donation to help sponsor the Green News Report. We rely on you to stay on your public airwaves. From bradblog.com, I'm Brad Friedman.
And I'm Desi Doyen.
And this has been your Green News Report.
You're listening to Adam Hebert,
a man with breathtaking anger management issues,
on Mike Check Radio. Hi, this is Kenny Pick from Turn Up the Night. Here are some of the hijinks you can expect from my show.
Hey, McCain was born in Panama.
Yeah, McCain was born in Panama, but, you know, there was...
And they were fine with that.
Well, he was born of American parents, and it was in a U.S. territory.
Yeah. McCain was actually grandfathered in, and what I mean by that is he was born an old man.
Yeah, so it was kind of like Benjamin Button. Yeah.
Turn Up the Night with Kenny Pick, streaming live every Tuesday and Friday from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern at Radio or Not, Talk Radio 1, Progressive Blend Radio, and KennyPick.com.
It's the HowdyLand.com News Bulletin with Stan Douglas. Go to HowdyLand.com and click on the Funny Times special offer to receive your free sample issue today.
A peaceful protest over living conditions and access to health care quickly spun out of control in Washington, D.C. today as an estimated mob of nearly 45,000 torch-bearing monsters descended on Capitol Hill to mess with Congressional Minority Leader Eric Cantor's mind. Security Supervisor Marla Kennerly describes the scene as Cantor attempted to reason with the mindless horde.
They really had Mr. Cantor questioning his own sanity for a while there, until one of the demons started shrieking about a higher tax rate on capital gains.
And finally, internet news filters and content farms barely noticed the final departure of American troops from Hapistan today as the United States successfully ended Operation Whiskey Twilight, our briefest war of choice. A coalition of forces from Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Azerbaijan, and our own South Carolina accidentally overthrew the Hapistani dictator Mahmoud al-Khwarizmi while passing through last week. This HowdyLand.com news bullet was pulled over for questioning and later found wandering naked in a local forest preserve. I'm Stan Douglas.
Unfiltered truth, news, and opinion. Filter-free radio with Jacob Dean and Skeptical Scott.
You can always go back to Rome and Greece, and then let's face it, kingdoms. You know, it wasn't until a couple hundred years ago that we realized that, hey, monarchies don't work. Let's think of another kind of system of governance. You know, it's something a little less hierarchical, if you will, or at least concentrated power. Then again, when you're dealing with money, capitalism is about money and the exchange of money, then concentrated power works really well.
Radio or Not and filterfreeradio.com.
Here we go again. I demand more. I want it, I need it, and I'm gonna have it.
Mike Check Radio with Adam Hebert.
And we are back. Wes, can you hear me, sir?
Yo.
Oh, wait, I forgot. I you can't be here until... I'm sorry, I fucked it up. Well, I get your jingle ready. You want what? Huh? I'm sorry.
Here.
Oh. Well, here we go.
People of Earth, your attention, please.
Oh, yeah.
Well, speak up!
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
It's the most badass co-host in Liberal Talk Radio, Wes Carskaddon.
A foul-mouthed, barrel-chested, beer-bellied pile of ugly muscle.
Holy shit, you geeks are badass.
I apologize for nothing.
You know how testosterone is.
As a bubbling crockpot of male hormones, I sure do.
There! Now we got it done. You are in. How was your week, Wes?
Oh, it was alright. Busy.
Yeah, same here.
I got asked twice on the way home. Like, I stopped by the liquor store and then by the Wendy's. And twice on the way, I got asked if I was going to a titty bar for some reason. I don't understand.
What? Well,
I mean, I had a lot of ones because, I work for tips. But
well, that's gotta be it. That's gotta be it.
That's fine.
And that's the only reason why I can think of for, I don't know. I mean, wait, that's it? You just work for tips?
Well, not just for tips. I get a paycheck too. But I do have a lot of ones. The point.
Darn it! I did not get the. So, did you find out when the change happens? I'm very excited. Still,
should be
no
soon.
idea.
I don't know when.
Well,
nobody tells me shit.
Well, here's hoping. I'm looking forward to this, though. I can tell you that. So yeah. So just a quick recap. We talked. I'm sorry. I'm completely brain fucked, I guess. This.
Been smoking the old Toby?
No. We talked about Kamal Salim, the fraud, who's going around saying,
right?
You remember this guy?
Yeah.
How do you change a terrorist? Introduce him to Jesus, because we've never, ever in the history of this great country had a Christian terrorist.
No, man, no, not ever.
And never. You know what? The idea of there being a Christian terrorist is just inconceivable. What is this world?
Hey, don't you know? All terrorists are scary brown people who worship Allah.
Well, yeah. And just so you know, just so our audience knows, Macaroni will be back. Oh, hello. Macaroni will be back on this show on when was it, Wes? I forget. October 6th, or our October 6th show. We will be having Macaroni, the official rapper of the Stephanie Miller Show.
Ooh.
And he will be in the second hour after the Green News Report. So, Wes, are you ready to talk about Mitt Romney's little meltdown?
The sad thing is I have to ask which one.
Yeah, you're right.
You mean his campaign?
No, well, their campaign is in like panic mode right now.
He's just not very good at this whole politics thing.
Well, and again, no one tell them about the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. You're gonna ruin a great comedy, something with great comedy potential. Don't tell him about, it having "Don't Panic" inscribed on the cover in large, friendly letters.
Yeah, they're conservatives. They don't read.
So, okay. We've all already heard it. Let's, but we are gluttons. Where? Don't you dare tell me it is not here.
I don't know.
It's not here. I know I got it. Excuse me while I panic.
Just go with it. Okay. Which one are we talking about?
The 47% one.
Oh, okay.
Damn it.
Yes, Mitt Romney basically said he was going to be 47% of the country that he would never win over. There, problem solved.
Okay, there we go. Here we go. I think I found it. That just pisses me off, though. Yeah, thank you. Here's what he had to say. Where is it? Mitt Romney on... Here we go. Mitt Romney on Obama voters.
There are 47% of the people who will vote for the president no matter what. All right, there are 47% who are with him, who are dependent upon government, who believe that they are victims, who believe that government has a responsibility to care for them, who believe that they're entitled to health care, to food, to housing, to you name it. But it's an entitlement, and government should give it to them. And they will vote for this president no matter what. And I mean, the president starts off with 48, 49, 40, he starts off with a huge number. These are people who pay no income tax. 47% of Americans pay no income tax. So our message of low taxes doesn't connect. And he'll be out there talking about tax cuts for the rich. I mean, that's what they sell every 4 years. And so my job is not to worry about those people. I'll never convince them that they should take personal responsibility and care for their lives. What I have to do is convince the 5 to 10% in the Senate that are independent, that are thoughtful, that look at voting one way or the other depending upon, in some cases, emotion, whether they like the guy or not.
Wow!
Yeah, where to begin? You know, I gotta say, Adam, you're a fucking moocher. Because you think that all human beings have a right to, like, not die from diseases or starve or exposure.
So what you're saying is this.
Wait! Scratch that! You're not the idiot! I'm the idiot for listening!
Is that what you're saying?
Fucking moocher.
Well, actually, Dick Morris, who, I don't know if you know, Wes, has a penchant for sucking on prostitute toes. Here is his response to this. Take a listen.
I would argue that the polls you're talking about are rendered, I guess, irrelevant by this point because of all the events in the Middle East. No?
Well, I sure hope so. I think that it's very rare that you have a president who is so identified with a certain genre of foreign policy that blows up so thoroughly in his face as is going on right now. And, you know, the thing is that if everybody was born into the Democratic Party, you know, your ethnicity or you're a single mother or you're a blue-collar working union family, and people have to kind of work out of that by thinking for themselves.
Yeah.
And anyone who really is thinking is realizing that Romney is the answer to the economy. Even those single women that vote for Obama.
So if you vote for Obama, you're stupid. I'm stupid, Wes. Derp.
Stop being so stupid.
My dad is going to be very surprised because my father is one of those super uber conservatives. Like, you know, he worships at the altar. You know, it's like, I think he has a little shrine with a replica of Rush Limbaugh's penis.
Okay.
Or something. If you're listening, Dad, I apologize. Okay, half my family is conservative and half my family is liberal.
Okay.
I wasn't raised... I mean, believe me, they fought for me. You know, it's like, one side was like, oh, Adam, you actually are voting for Obama, you're stupid. The other side was like, nah, whatever, you're on your own. You know...
Yeah.
I mean, my mom's side of the family is liberal, but it's like my grandmother ever said, Adam, Sonny, I'm getting frail in my old age. And Grandma, if you're listening, I'm sorry. This is the best invitation I can do. And I I really need those Social Security checks, so you need to vote for Obama, Sonny. Take a bullet for your grandmother. No one ever... My grandmother never said anything like that. They were happy when I said I voted for Obama, but they have never said, this is who you should vote for.
Well, I mean, people on the left end of the philosophical spectrum tend to be more accepting of people with different opinions. Imagine that.
Well, here's the funny thing. So Dick Morris is saying, if you're a Democrat, you're stupid. But doesn't that contradict this? Because I know we went over this last weekend. But let's take a trip down memory lane. Dude, let's get in... let's get into the time machine, and I don't have my Back to the Future clip. God damn it!
Dude.
Oh, great!
It's okay.
There we go. Let's get back in the time machine and go back to the past. Here is Senator Man-on-Dog Santorum last week.
We will never have the media on our side. Ever in this country.
That
we
is
will never
because
have
you're a bunch of raving lunatics.
The elite, smart people on our side.
So you've got one guy. You've got one guy. You've got one guy saying, "If you're a Democrat, you're stupid," and you got the other saying, "We're stupid and proud of it."
Yeah, sounds about right.
So, and of course, this,
No, what's really sad is just that nobody seems to see the contradiction.
No, they're stupid. And of course, there was more fun. This was recorded secretly at a fundraiser, and boy, do I can't wait to drop the bomb of who did it. But here's another, and this one really disturbs me. This one grinds my gears, my friend. Take a listen to this one.
In the Jimmy Carter election, the fact that we had hostages in Iran, that was all we talked about. And we had the 2 helicopters crash in the desert. That was the focus. And so him solving that made all the difference in the world. I'm afraid today, if you said we got Iran to agree to stand down and just a weapon, they go, hold on. It's really, but by the way, if something of that nature presents itself, I will work to find a way to take advantage of the opportunity.
So, if something like the Iran hostage crisis happens again, Mitt Romney says he's going to take advantage of it. Now, let's again back in time. Great Scott! If you remember, it's a historical fact, and I know conservatives hate history and they hate facts because the truth is to a conservative what the Bible is to a vampire. But Ronald Reagan basically went to the Iranians and said, look, you guys keep the hostages until you guys just say no to whatever Carter offers you, and I'll give you guys a sweetheart deal when I take office. What do you say?
I wish that was the only nasty dealing Reagan was doing at that point.
Well, but that is treason, Wes. That is treason. I'm sorry. And I know, like my mom, who is one of the liberals in the family, she says, Adam, I don't know why you hate Reagan so much. He did so many great things. I said, no, he didn't, Mom. He sold out this country.
Not really, no. Reagan was a terrible president. I'm sorry, he was. The best thing I can say about Ronald Reagan is that he probably doesn't know or remember what his policies were. Well, he's dead now, so.
Well, he's dead now, yeah.
He probably didn't know what he was doing at the time. He was a Bush, and that's he was a Bush. He was a nice, charismatic face that was being put on the policies, putting forth the policies of other people, and there are people who he would do what they said.
Yeah,
that's Reagan. That's Reagan. That's the fucking war on drugs. That's the fucking Iran-Contra. That's our horrible South American policy, which nobody talks about.
Yeah, and and again, we should have really played the Santorum surge warning before we played that clip, but he's basically saying that if something like this happens, we're going to sabotage any efforts to resolve this. But let's stick with this 47% thing, just for a little bit. So so here's a good one. This is from, I don't know where the original, I got this from Media Matters. Take a listen, Wes.
Now let's get back to that new at 10 story. According to a new report released by
Stuart Varney,
the Social Security Administration improperly awarded disability to more than 25% of those people who applied for disability payments between 2006 and 2010. What do you make of that, Charles? Come on, you've got something to say about that. I know you do.
I've talked about this before.
Yeah, you have.
This is a huge scandal. It's been going on for a while. In some places, they call it the crazy check. 29-year-old man walks in and says, this economy's driving me crazy. I just can't do it. They say, here, you're on Social Security disability. And you've got...
Oh, my God. Okay, I'm going to explain exactly why I find this offensive, Wes. I'm not trying to freeze you up, but this really was personal for me. I know you know, because we've been friends for about 12 years, but I have a learning disability. I have ADHD. I was diagnosed with it for the first time in the 3rd grade, and my father was, at the time, a private first class in the Army, so he wasn't making much money. My medication was free. It was covered by the Army, but the treatment, to get treatment and work on it and develop, ways to get around it, wasn't covered. My mother, they couldn't pay for it, and my mother applied to get me Social Security. She fought tooth and nail from the time I was diagnosed. Well, I was probably from when I was 10, was becoming a real hellion.
Right.
And she got turned down for the final time when I was 15. Now, I'm not saying I should get a crazy check. I'm just saying that this idea that people aren't, that they just, someone comes and says, this economy's driving me. No. They have to fight tooth and nail for this. And if my mom had gotten those benefits for me, I would probably have to go in every couple of months for interviews, it's like unemployment. They're gonna get up all in your business,
they check on you. Yeah, I've known a few people, actually quite a few now I think about it, interestingly, who have been trying to get on disability for things that I think any reasonable person would consider legitimate problems. Back injuries so severe they simply cannot work.
Well,
that's
it's like
worth disability. You're physically not able to get a job.
Well, it's like my ADHD can get in the way of getting a job because I can't focus. It's not that I don't want to, it's that I literally can't. However, I also have other issues. For example, 5 years at Walmart, throwing pallets and freight did a number on my knees and my back. I have trouble getting down the stairs. I cannot walk for more than 10 or 15 minutes without my legs starting to basically shut down and free. It literally locks up, and of course I can't prove anything because these problems didn't start until after I've been off the job for a while. So part of it might just be because I'm no longer used to that sort of activity. But I'm pretty sure I did some damage to my knees. But this idea, like I said, my mom didn't try to get me a crazy check. I had a legitimate learning disability, and you just insulted me and my mom, you asshole.
And anybody who, because what? Okay, to nerdy this up a little bit. Yes, me nerdy it up more. I always like to think when I hear about people cutting disability, cutting the safety nets, cutting Medicare, it reminds me of The Killing Joke, the Batman comic, The Killing Joke, where the whole message of that comic was that every one of us, everybody, is one really good, solid, bad day away from being like the Joker. He's a man who's driven insane, and that safety net, that Social Security, is there to keep us from becoming the Joker.
I like that. I like that.
Nobody has to be so desperate that they turn to crime or eating other people or whatever.
Well, I'm trying to think of what we're coming up on a break, so let's just get ready to go. Hold on. There we go. So, anywho, yeah, he basically insulted half the fucking country, and he's basically saying that if I become president, fuck you. I got what I want. I'm gonna ram my dick up your ass, and I'm gonna rape you, and I'm gonna suck everything out of you until you're worthless to me. And yes, I realize I'm being a bit extreme with that, but I think that's pretty close to the Republican philosophy, which is, rape, pillage. Before we do, Wes, before we go to break, I just want to say, this week was International Talk Like a Pirate Day, so I have a question for you.
Yes?
Does Todd Akin celebrate International Talk Like a Pirate Day by legitimate raping, legitimate burning, and legitimate pillaging?
He probably doesn't know about it. Besides, another thing, it doesn't count if you just, walk in, say, hey, I'm a friendly guy, I'm in your house. Oops, threw a torch. My bad. That's not legitimate burning.
Okay.
Oh, I just walked out with your stuff in my pockets. Sorry.
Well, I just wanted to throw that joke out there. I apologize. I could have done better, I think.
That was good.
So, all right. Anyway, we're going to go to break. We're running a little long. We will be back. This is Mike Check Radio with Adam Heber and the most badass co-host in Liberal Talk Radio, Wes Carscad, and we'll catch you on the flip side.
Adam Hebert.
Seems sensitive in a naive kind of way.
Adam Hebert.
The big fat dork! And he's denser than lead, too. He wouldn't know how to relate to another person if you gave him a manual.
Oh, I see.
Smarter than Savage and sexier than Limbaugh. This is Adam Hebert on Mike Check Radio.
The world of Progress Radio is thinking about progressive as not right or left, wrong or right, political or social, but simply a heartfelt commitment to finding solutions that are win-win for us all. AWOP Radio's mission is to bring you the voices of ordinary people who are creating, documenting, and living extraordinary positive change. Catch the show live Fridays at 10 p.m. Eastern at awopradio.com, iTunes, or subscribe to the podcast via your favorite podcatcher. Listen on demand at Stitcher Radio, or pick up the AWOP Radio Android app for your smartphone at the Amazon App Store. A better world for all is possible. Join AWOP Radio host Kim G every week for interviews with people just like you, creating real positive change for the good of all.
It's the HowdyLand.com News Bulletin with Stan Douglas. Go to HowdyLand.com and click on the Funny Time special offer to receive your free sample issue today.
Former journalist Arthur Whiteley was forced to quit his job at the Cleveland Informer and live in fear after revealing how Republican Party members tell one another apart. Speaking from an undisclosed chicken cannery, Whiteley agreed to share his story under the condition that his voice be electronically altered to sound very cool.
Well, it's simple. They set them up at a lunch counter and they come down the line, thumping each one in the head. Well, whoever stops eating that son bitch is a moderate.
Also confirmed by multiple sources was that rumor about gay Republicans being measurably less gay than their Democrat counterparts. This HowdyLand.com news bullet officially made a pact with the devil today and discovered that immortals will believe anything. I'm Stan Douglas.
Are you living in a progressive talk void? If so, be sure to visit leftwingradiostations.com. The state-by-state listing is a quick and easy way to find any left-wing talk radio station across America, from sea to shining sea. Your progressive talk nirvana is only a click away at leftwingradiostations.com. Be sure to like Left Wing Radio Stations on Facebook and share it with your friends. leftwingradiostations.com. United we stand.
What the hell? Are you stuck at home on a Saturday night with nothing to do again?
I can't take it anymore!
Then join me, my co-hosts, and my guests every Saturday evening for Mike Check Radio with Adam Hebert. Okay. Together we'll discuss the big news of the week from entertainment and politics, talk about the issues that are on your mind, and hey, we'll even talk about general stupidity and jackassery from the American right.
You stupid jackass!
So join me every Saturday evening, 6 to 9 p.m. Central at my Ustream home, Mike Check Radio. Come on in, it'll be loads of fun.
Gee, I sure hope there's a happy ending. I love a happy ending.
Have you checked your mic? If you haven't, somebody else has. That's Adam Hebert on Mike Check Radio.
Fuck yeah!
1,000 years ago, superstition and the sword ruled. It was a time of darkness. It was a world of fear. It was the age of
Adam Hebert on Mike Check Radio.
Almost forgot to turn my mic on. And of course, this is a world of fear. Republicans, fear me, for I am Adam, and I am joined by the most badass co-host in liberal talk radio. Although, let's be honest, Wes, you're not nearly as badass as Keith David and his, his super deep voice.
There are very few people as badass as Keith David. He was fucking Spawn.
Yeah. He was also, that fight in They Live,
Yeah.
Speaking of that, Wes, did you know They Live is getting released on Blu-ray on November 6th, Election Day?
Cool.
Let's assume that not everyone knows about They Live. Let's give a quick... So, Wes, why don't you tell us what goes on in They Live?
Roddy Piper.
I know this is impromptu, but I've been meaning to mention this.
It's been a while since I've seen it, but I'll give the summary that as best I remember. Roddy Piper, famous wrestler from the 80s for those young'uns, is the protagonist of this film, who finds a pair of sunglasses, that let him see the hidden meanings and the hidden messages behind everything. For example, he looks at billboards and just sees the hidden message. He looks at money and it says, "I am your God." And and then it degenerates into something about aliens, and that part I've kind of forgotten.
Now, Wes, I'm sure you remember this question. Let's who was helping the aliens in this movie?
Oh man, it has been so many years.
It's related to the presidential candidate. You really don't remember?
Dude, seriously, it's been many years since I saw They Live.
The rich. If you help the aliens, you got rich. So my question is, based on that, Wes, do you think it coming out on Election Day is a coincidence?
Maybe, but if so, it's a good one.
Anyway, I just wanted to bring that up. Please pre-order. They Live is an awesomely entertaining movie.
It has the longest fight scene in film history.
And it's actually pretty good. It's actually a pretty good fight scene.
Yeah, it's a fun movie.
Yeah, it's I recommend it. And another good movie that ties into politics, Clue, now up on Netflix for instant viewing, starring the great Tim Curry. Anywho, your music for last break was another overclocked remix piece called Que, a remix of Electric de Chocobo from Final Fantasy VII. So, we're back. We're in the saddle. Let's go. As soon as I remember what we're talking about, let's talk Fast and Furious, Wes. I know we've talked about this before, and that it's total bullshit, and no sane person.
I mean, and Vin Diesel was terrible in it too.
Wrong Fast and Furious, Wes. Where is it? Where's it? Wrong Fast and Furious.
Right?
Well, yeah, okay. But we're talking about the trumped-up case against Attorney General Eric Holder. Yes, he was cleared this week. And, of course, my friend Brad on Facebook, my libertarian, he says he's a libertarian, but he votes Republican. I say...
They often do.
I say you're just ashamed to come out and say you support these batshit crazy people.
I'm going to go ahead and offend all the libertarians that I know and say libertarians, if they were... The thing is, they're people who are too smart to identify as Republicans, but still, for some reason, just don't want to understand progressivism. It's like there's just something holding them back from understanding.
I disagree. I think they're smart enough to not identify as Republicans, but they're too stupid to be liberals.
Well, yes. Basically.
So, so basically this week, Eric Holder was cleared by an impartial panel that said, look, there's no proof Eric Holder was involved with this incident.
Of course.
He's clear. He's clean. Leave him alone.
The thing is, we live in the media age. We live in the age of the 24-hour news cycle, where as soon as there's an allegation that something's gone on, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what the actual investigation shows, because now Eric Holder, for example, is always going to be associated with Fast and Furious in people's minds. Same thing happened to John Kerry and the fucking Swift boaters. He'll be forever associated with completely untrue allegations that were disproven, but that's not what sticks in people's mind, because the American people, from years of television and media, have a short attention span.
Well, yeah. So anyway, here's what the article says. There is no evidence that Attorney General Eric Holder and high-ranking officials at the Justice Department knew that guns were allowed to, quote, walk. In other words, they let transactions they knew shouldn't happen during an ATF operation known as Fast and Furious, according to a report released on Wednesday afternoon by the department's internal watchdog. Following a 19-month investigation, the Inspector General found that the decision not to take action against low-level straw purchasers was made by the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco and Firearms and Explosives (ATF) and the Arizona U.S. Attorney's Office. In other words, Eric, we told you from the very beginning it took, and of course, we're gonna get the Assahat later. ISA, because, typical Republican, not going to let a talking point go. But we told you all this, and I told him, I said, because he was talking about, my friend Brad was talking about Fast and Furious, I said, your talking points are a bit outdated, they just cleared Holder. And of course, everyone who talked about Fast and Furious owes Attorney General Eric Holder an apology. Now, I'm not going to hold my breath, because as I've repeatedly stated on this program, Republicans have no shame. They lack that part of their brain that says, oh my God, I did something horrible, I need to make amends. No, what they say is, I did something wrong, it didn't work, I've got to do something worse.
Well, I mean, to be fair, to be completely fair, the ATF did fuck up. It was a bad operation.
No one is saying otherwise. The whole point was, they're trying to say it was a cover-up. Eric Holder was covering up to protect President Obama. Eric Holder is covering up for this and that, and blah, 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 blah. No, Eric, this was done by a rogue agency against orders. President Obama came in and said, no more gun-walking operations will be permitted now that I'm in charge. Fast and Furious started under Bush, my friends. And don't let a Republican tell you otherwise, because they are lying.
Oh, yeah, it's nothing you can disagree with there. It was started in 2000, what was it, 5 or 6, I believe. And who was president?
Bill Clinton.
If only.
Barack Obama.
If only.
FDR.
Hell, I wish. There's no other president you can name that's not going to get that same reaction. I'm sorry, unless it's fucking Bush.
Was it George W. Bush?
Wait. Let me check. Yes.
I get the prize. Yes.
Congratulations. You get President Bush.
Did I ever mention just how much I hated that smirk and that laugh?
Hey. You could use him for clearing brush. He's apparently very good at that.
No, but it's like, he sounded like a fucking monkey! Give the man a banana!
I don't know, his laugh always just sounded kind of just like shadier to me. Like more, what's the word I'm looking for? Scheming, but not like devious. Like,
You're actually suggesting he had the mental capacity to scheme?
I'm sure he had the capacity had he ever thought to use it. But, no, I just mean he sounded like it.
Okay. So, moving on. Eric Holder is cleared, so what do you think Daryl Issa, or as I call him, Assahat, what do you think his reaction was, Wes? Do you want the Jeopardy music for this one, or are you cool?
I'm good. I'm good with this.
Okay.
I'm gonna say he said he read the article in depth. He spent some time looking up sources that were cited, reading testimonies, and finally came to an intellectually sound, well thought out, well considered decision that perhaps it was time to let Eric Holder just go off the hook and go focus on a real issue.
I'm sorry, sir.
He went to Burger King?
House Oversight and Government Reform Chairman Darrell Issa, also known as the Assa-Hat from California, is vowing to consider pursuing Attorney General Eric Holder's contempt of Congress citation in court, and said that the report is all the more reason to continue his own probe with new zeal. So he is zealously probing Eric Holder.
Well, I hope he's using some lube.
And that was completely unscripted. Nothing is scripted on this program. Yes, he is aggressively and zealously probing.
Does that mean that he has a UFO?
I would like for, if there are any actual aliens out there listening, please take some of our humans. I've got a list. They're good. They're cool. They're fat.
Hey, just,
they're fat.
Just come say
white.
Hello, and it'll blow everybody's minds and get everybody out of churches, maybe.
They're fat. They're white. They're stupid. You'll love them. Take them.
Oh, they make great food.
Yes.
I mean, they're a little fatty, so you have to take it easy on them and have a run, especially the Limbaugh.
It's a cookbook!
But then, check this out. You could eat Rush Limbaugh and get really high.
Oh, and boy, do we have some Limbaugh. We're gonna elevate the conversation tonight, my friend.
Woo!
So yeah. Eric Holder's clear. Darrell Issa basically is pulling a Dr. Claw. No, he's more like Pearl Forster. Pursuing him through time and space. He's saying, you're gonna get back in the theater, Holder.
Yeah, hey, don't be a Pearl like that, man. Come on, that's so not fair to her.
Yeah, I guess Dr. Claw. Next time, Gadget. Next time.
Dr. Claw was actually cool.
I can't.
Damn, dude, you all right?
I'm okay. I'm just in case anyone's worried. I'm okay. I can't do those voices. How does Frank Welker do that?
Chain smoking.
Because we know, Keith David, he did Goliath all on his own. Those roars and everything, that was him. Anywho, so let's talk about the Republicans are, of course, all about hyperbole. Take a listen to this.
Well, I believe that there is ubiquitous evidence that this administration has a general trend of subordinating the constitutional rights that we hold very dearly as Americans to placate sometimes our enemies who have nothing but derision toward us, and I'm convinced that it is playing out even in the events of recent days. And I really believe that this administration is moving toward being willing to criminalize certain things that we hold as free speech in America. You and I have the commonality of holding Christ as Savior in our hearts. And if somebody spoke out publicly and said that Judas was the Son of God and the only way to salvation, I would consider that blasphemy. But it is still protected speech under the United States Constitution.
Is he talking about George W. Bush again?
I don't know, but it's funny that that's the example he would choose, be that, it's Judas, not, hey, it's all bullshit. Because, they're not so comfortable with that.
Yeah,
this whole thing is a silly story. Right.
Yeah. Let's review. So, he's basically accusing Barack Obama of having some evil plot to limit free speech. And what do you think his proof for that is, Wes?
I'm gonna go ahead and say nothing. Absolutely nothing. He's just talking out his stupid fucking ass. Because that's the thing. It's been going on for the last 4 fucking years. It's like, Barack Obama wants to take away our essential liberties. Like? I don't know.
Of course!
Yeah. Well, before we do Asshole of the Week, our new double-sized Asshole of the Week, let's talk about Ann Romney. Have you ever noticed she seems to have a persecution complex?
Yeah. That seems to be the bread and butter of especially public figures that don't want to appear too strong on the right. Women, mostly.
Well, let's go back in time.
Great Scott!
To last week, and here is what Ann Romney was saying about mittens, reversible mittens.
Our life has always been devoted to those that are struggling more than we are. And I was grateful for the opportunity that we had at the convention for others to speak up and talk about the kind of lives we've led, and in particular for Mitt, who really has been demonized in many ways.
Well, now, Wes, when you're digging your own grave, what is rule number 1?
Bring a nice big shovel.
Well, but you stop digging!
Well, yes, but then you're not really digging your own grave. Besides, I love how, they love to have it both ways. The last clip we played is a good example of this, too. I have 2 good examples right here. Ann Romney at the convention was talking about how, we've spent so much of our lives being so poor. And then she turns around and says, we've always been trying to help the poor. Or,
yeah, she's very two-faced. But let's get this clip. I'm not trying to be rude, but here's fast forward to this week.
You talked in there about how hard it is for you as a wife to watch from the sidelines, essentially. Could you expand on that a little bit?
Well, if you love someone and you know them so well, like I know Mitt, and you see him being maligned, mistreated, attacked, all these things that happen in a campaign, you get very defensive. And the last cycle, after 4 years, 4 years ago, when we lost to McCain, I made a videotape, and in the videotape, I said to Mitt, I will never, ever do this again. I was very emphatic about it because I'd really suffered so much during
a lying Republican. Who would have thought? But there's more.
All of that. It was very hard on me. And yet I find myself going through this cycle without having that the maliciousness I don't let it seep in. And I made up my mind when we decided to go forward, and it was very much my decision as well. I clearly knew what I was getting in for. I knew what it was like. I knew how tough it is.
All right, we're running out of time. We got 1 more minute. And let's get to this, because this one was really
getting stupid. I mean, what do you say to your fellow Republicans who are...
Let's save this. Let's do Asshole of the Week. I'm sorry, Wes. I know I'm all over.
Okay.
Here we go. Asshole of the Week.
Who is he? He's an asshole, sir. I know that. What's his name? Asshole. Major asshole. I knew it. I'm surrounded by assholes. Were ye born an asshole?
Asshole?
Or did you work it your whole life? Either way, it worked out fine, 'cause you're an asshole tonight. How many assholes we got on this ship anyhow?
God, it's like my brain's that tree and you're those little cookies.
Stop!
Hi,
no!
This is Kenny Pick. Come experience the next generation.
Oops.
I started to zone out there. Like, it must be time to go smoke a cigarette. Okay.
Oh, shit. What did I do? Oh, shit. I done fucked up this one. Yeah, so,
anyway.
let's kick it off. Take it away. Well, I piece back together our brick.
I might regret this because we're doing our only once per nominee. But I'm going to go ahead today and I'm going to blow my mitt load. I'm going to shoot my hot, sticky mitt wad right now, and I hope I'm not doing it too early. I am giving it to Mitt Romney because one of the stories that kind of slipped through the news, I was aware of it, but it was buried in all the other shit, is that he went to a Hispanic voters conference with a spray tan that he had obviously just put on because a picture taken earlier that day showed him with much lighter skin. That is just the right nexus of idiotic to think that somebody would just trust you more because of a darker skin tone, and really offensive. I mean, that's really offensive.
Yes. Is that all? Are you right?
And fuck that guy. Yeah.
Okay. My asshole of the week is, damn. My asshole of the week, is, GOP congressional candidate David Rouser, who had this to say while on the campaign trail.
When we get them in, you know what's going to happen? You're going to see a big change. Yeah. You're going to see, number one, that America is going to be respected again around the world. Yeah. You're going to see all this turmoil that's taking place. You're going to see them look up and say, guess what? The American people have spoken, and maybe we need to cut it out a little bit. Yeah. Maybe we need to tone it down just a little bit, because now we have real men in the White House. That's right. No girly men.
No girly men. First of all, I'm sure Osama bin Laden, were he still alive, would have a lot to say about this Obama is a girly man. Just saying, the guy was shot twice in the eye under Barack Obama's orders. Second of all, there is a big difference between respect and fear. Not that conservatives would understand, because it's kind of subtle. And Wes, as we know, Republicans and subtlety don't do well together.
Yeah. It's the same mentality that leads, dudes to, like, smack their kids around because they gotta respect them.
Yeah. Yes.
It's not respect. Not respect.
Yes. So, yeah. And actually, I'm gonna do another double whammy before we go to break. I almost got hit by a car on campus last night going to get dinner, because I guess it was party night, so that means if we run someone over, it's cool as long as you get to the party on time. The fact of the matter is that when a bus stops in a 2-lane street, you don't go around the fucking bus.
Yeah, but man, if, like, they hadn't gone, they might have been, like, a couple of seconds later to where they were going.
I realize it would have seriously affected... The whole world would have ended that very instant. But, I almost got killed! So yeah, whoever almost hit me, you are my auxiliary asshole of the week. I'm really pissed about this, Wes.
So what are we going to do? Are we going to do a personal asshole and a professional asshole of the week now?
No, but I
know a few people.
I'm not going to do this every week. It's just, I don't think you quite understand. I was like 5 feet off from getting hit. Because this guy was going down. It's a 2-lane street, so there's no crossing, there's no changing lanes. And, he was going down that street much faster than he should have, and he almost hit me. But this is stuff we can cover in the after show. We gotta go. We're long on break. So, yeah, off we go.
Superpowers, got any? Well, I can eat my own weight in ding-dongs. I can turn red traffic lights green just by staring at them. And I can do an oil painting with my butt.
That's enough to get you on this show.
This is Mike Check Radio with Adam Hebert.
anything we want to. There's nowhere I'd rather be but here with you. The stars above light the way, only for you and I. And I'm so glad I found the world that I've been looking for. In my dreams, I'm the one you're hoping for. Love can come through an open door. Just be strong and be sure to find the one. I want to see you standing there in the night. Dream delight. I found someone who really cares. In the night, dream delight. I want to see you smile again. In the night, dream delight. You are the one I've waited for.
Come experience the next generation of progressive voices. Weekday nights on Nicole Sandler's Primetime Lineup at RadioOrNot.com. Liberate yourself with filter-free radio, hosted by Jacob Dean every Monday night.
It's just the system is broken. Just bring it down. Bring it all down, right?
On Wednesday nights, take a sharp progressive turn and join Talking Left with Danielle and Shano.
All those Republicans are anti-capitalist.
All of a sudden, well, no, they're just anti-Romney.
Exactly.
and it's interesting to watch the three-legged stool splinter.
Then let it all hang out both Tuesday and Friday nights on Turn Up the Night with Kenny Pick.
You love the Constitution so much, but you hate the government, but you love the corporations. Where does that come from?
Tune in to the Primetime Radio or Not lineup weekday nights at the Ustream home of Nicole Sandler. RadioOrNot.com.
I'm sorry, I just find the whole thing so ironic and so mind-bending, it's just ridiculous.
It's the HowdyLand.com News Bulletin with Stan Douglas. Go to HowdyLand.com and click on the Funny Times special offer to receive your free sample issue today.
Texas lawmaker Louis Gohmert narrowly escaped injury early today when an experimental car made entirely of high-sulfur coal overturned and burst into flames after being attacked by a dozen mean old bitty hens. First responder Mac Darlington.
Mr. Gohmert refused to exit the vehicle until them chickens was fully cooked.
Gohmert, who had fast-tracked the opening of a Coalmobile dealership in his district for early next year, remains stupid and crazy. This HowdyLand.com News Bulletin will continue delivering news and eggs, at least until the eggs run out. I'm Stan Douglas.
Hi, this is Kenny Pick from Turn Up the Night. Here are some of the hijinks you can expect from my show.
Also, news just recently came out about a 15-year-old girl, I think, over in the UK.
Yeah.
Who's only eating McNuggets, and this 15-year-old
get real sick.
Yeah, her tongue swelled up and she collapsed.
What's the technical medical term for eating nothing but chicken nuggets?
I think that would be suicide.
Turn Up the Night with Kenny Pick, streaming live every Tuesday and Friday from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern at Radio or Not, Talk Radio 1, Progressive Blend Radio, and KennyPick.com.
For you, the day
Adam Hebert on Mic Check Radio
graced your village was the most important day of your life. But for me, it was Tuesday.
Actually, it was Saturday. But we are back for our final segment, and we are actually on schedule for the first time in 2 weeks. So
holy
woo-hoo!
shit!
I
That's
know.
awesome.
I mean, that that is definitely
inconceivable.
So
Anywho,
there's
I'll go ahead and take this here because there is one story we have not hit upon yet, and I will not let this go. This is important fucking news. This is breaking, earth-shattering. You have to understand this. Rush Limbaugh recently admitted to the public that he has a tiny schlong. His man-meat is minuscule. His unit is a fun size. He has a shriveled shrinky-dink.
Actually, great minds think alike because I went and I pulled up. I forgot to put them in the box, but we'll play it. But yeah, I got a shrinky-dink commercial. But I'm pretty sure everyone knows what we're talking about. So, shall we cut to the audio, Mr. Karskadin?
Indeed.
Very good then. Audio away.
I have a story. It's from Philadelphia. CBS News, CBS Eyeball News. If size matters, male private parts are shrinking, according to a new Italian study on sexuality. The study's leaders... Kids are back in school now. It's okay. Well, it's September 20th. It's just adults out there now.
Hold on. Let's pause for a minute. If a parent lets their kid listen to this at any time of the year, that kid needs to be taken into protective custody. But
yeah, I mean, Rush Limbaugh is child abuse.
Yeah, so thank God he's never had children. Here we go.
The study's leaders claim to have bona fide research. I say bona fide probably here. Bona fide research that says the average size of a penis is roughly 10% smaller than it was 50 years ago. And the researchers say air pollution is why. Air pollution, global warming, has been shown to negatively impact penis size. Italian researchers. I don't buy this. I think it's feminism. I think if it's tied to the last 50 years, the average size of member is 10% smaller than it's 50 years, has to be the feminazis.
Yeah.
That would, I mean, the chickification, everything else. Give them time, and they'll blame Bush. Give them time. But air pollution versus feminazis? Ha.
Yo, Joe!
Huh. As I promised, elevating the conversation.
That was delightful. Okay.
It was like a
I
trip
have
down
some
memory
points.
lane.
This is a story that's close to my heart because I love feminism, I love my penis, and I don't like air pollution.
Okay, good. So,
okay. First of all, if size matters, which it does, let's have a discussion with some women about what exactly it takes. Yes, size matters to a point. Namely, as long as it's large enough to be useful, and you know what areas to stimulate, it's going to be fine. B. Air pollution has a discernible effect upon the human body. It can be measured. It is particles of things going into you.
But that's
feminism
science,
is intangible. Feminism is not a physical thing. It doesn't physically exist. Besides, wouldn't the rise of feminism, especially among, women who, tend to be pregnant much more often than men?
Yeah.
Okay, let's take some Rush Limbaugh logic, because I love some Rush Limbaugh logic.
Wait,
let's say
there's such a thing as Rush Limbaugh logic?
Yes, because by Rush Limbaugh logic, obviously all feminists are raging bulldykes. And so they have a much higher testosterone level. So, a feminist who got pregnant and then had a child would seem to have a child with a larger unit.
Uh-huh.
Higher testosterone, bigger penis. Limbaugh logic. He's just mad that there's feminists out there who have bigger dicks than he does, to be quite honest.
Well, I mean, let's face facts. Rush, it's not that your dick has gotten smaller. It's that your ass has gotten bigger. Don't blame feminists for the fact that you haven't seen your cock since the Nixon administration.
Now, what we need to do next is do a study on exactly how much, on whether vaginas are also contracting, because it might not be such a big deal.
Well, I mean, but they're meant to contract and stretch and...
Yeah. I mean, be smaller. I don't know.
So, yeah. Like I said, as promised, elevating the discussion on...
Classy.
Yes. Come on. Can you blame us? I mean, this story is just ripe for mocking.
I can't even make this shit up. I mean, Rush Limbaugh, it's like, I remember when in the 90s and I was like, well, that guy's an asshole, but now I can't even make any of this shit up that he says. It's so far beyond the pale of ridiculous.
Yes. So let's get back to Ann Romney. Now, you know what drives me nuts is
Speaking of smaller penises.
Speaking of small penises.
But not feminism.
No. She sits here and, her husband is talking about people who feel they're entitled. Mitt Romney feels he's entitled to be president for no other reason except that he is rich, he is white, and he has pretty good hair. Those are what he, You don't
even need to take it that far. Mitt Romney feels that he's, staying close to the subject he was talking about, Mitt Romney feels he's entitled to a lower tax rate. Mitt Romney has no problem with the capital gains tax rate, except maybe it's too high.
Right. But here's the thing. Let's just get to the clip.
Getting stupid. What do you say to your fellow Republicans who are...
Stop it. This is hard. You want to try it? Get in the ring. This is hard. And, it's an important thing that we're doing right now, and it's an important election. And it is time for all Americans to realize how significant this election is and how lucky we are to have someone with qualifications and experience and know-how to be able to have the opportunity to run this country.
All right, so first of all, her retort is basically, leave Mitty alone! You're lucky he even runs for you, bastards! But notice what she said. She said he's campaigning to... What's he going to do? Run the country. Not serve it.
Yeah. Run it.
Run it.
Like a CEO.
So, we're getting into Imperial March territory here.
Well, the imperial presidency idea is nothing new, but it's always, since Nixon, it's been, just a little bit more presidential power every term.
And of course, if you give someone an inch, what happens?
They'll dick you over.
Well, no. we're done with the penis. We're done with penis talk, Wes. If you give
never
someone
done with penis talk.
They think they're a ruler. But anyway, so okay, Romney, Ann Romney, you're a stupid bitch. Shut up and go away. But here's one of the things that drives me nuts about her husband. Just listen to this clip.
The president today threw in the white flag of surrender again. He said he can't change Washington from inside. He can only change it from outside. Well, we're going to give him that chance in November. He's going outside. I can change Washington. I will change Washington. We'll get the job done from the inside. Republicans and Democrats will come together. He can't do it. His slogan was, yes, we can. His slogan now is, no, I can't. This is...
Okay, first of all, jackass, No, Republicans and Democrats aren't going to come together because the Republicans have so badly poisoned the well that if you win, we're going to do to you what you did to him. Second of all, put on your big boy magic underwear. Is it me, or does he just sound like he's whining? Like, why is the coronation taking so long? You know, he whines. He whines. Am I going too far, or is that fair, Wes?
I'd say that's pretty whiny. I mean,
it's like, Jesus Christ.
Well, I mean, it's coming from the, like, for example, it ties in with what we had earlier with Ann Romney, with the whining, where, she's like, oh, they're demonizing Mitt, oh, it's so hard for us, it's so hard running for president.
You mean like this?
And,
Stop it.
Yeah, basically. But then they turn around and go, well, let's talk about some foreign socialist, Kenyan, gay, Muslim Canadians.
Well, so, speaking of that, here's something that really grinds my gears. Speaking, since you brought up the K word, here's Greg Gutfield, who is probably the least funny comedian I've ever heard, on The Five. Another clip from Media Matters. Take a listen.
Oh, the trailer for the highly anticipated movie Lincoln, starring Academy Award winner Daniel Day-Lewis and directed by Steven Spielberg, was just released. Let's take a look.
We here highly resolve to slavery.
No one's ever
Settles the fate for, but if unborn we stop this bleed.
Hey, Craig, there's been hundreds of books written about Lincoln and a number of movies. What is it about this movie you think is going to be specifically different?
This is an outrage. Daniel Day-Lewis is British. We're outsourcing our presidents to England. First we have a Kenyan in the White House, and now we have a Brit playing Lincoln. And another problem with this movie...
What? I'm sorry. First of all, Greg, you're not a comedian, so go the fuck away. Second of all, penalty box, motherfucker, now!
Yeah, really?
I mean... what? And again, here we go. Eric Bolling on The Five, which, by the way, Wes, it's a common misconception that The Five is a reference to the number of people on the show, and it's actually a reference to the combined IQ of the conservative hosts.
That makes a lot more sense.
Little known fact.
I don't want to cut you off. Can we throw that picture up of the filmmaker again when he's all in disguise and the cops are leading him out? To me, America changed. I agree. Someone emailed me that picture. Mark Levin actually sent it to me to take a look at this. And, America changed at that moment. To use what is being called a flimsy ploy to bring this guy in for questioning proves that the Obama administration, through all this appeasement and apologizing, answers to the Quran first and to the Constitution second. There's no reason for that man.
Fuck you! Fuck you!
Man, it's like it's this sudden logical jump. Well, because of this, then obviously he believes in the Quran. Wait, what?
Well, here's what I have to say to Eric Bolling. He of less than 5 IQ.
Fuck you.
Yeah. I am so sick and tired of this. Oh, we got a Kenyan in the White House. He believes the Quran. Fuck you! It's called being a decent human being. Something you guys fail at every miserable day of your lives.
Yeah, I mean, it's so flagrant that it's just because he's a little different looking and a little scary. It's that's it. That's all it is. He doesn't seem like one of us.
Right. It's this otherization of the president, and I'm tired of it. Fuck you. Fuck you. There's no other response other than just tell these people, fuck you.
Essentially, yeah.
Here's a fuck, there's you. Fuck, go fuck yourself. You know, give him the Dick Cheney, you know.
Go fuck yourself, Jack.
You know, that's what we need to do. We need to start giving these people Dick Cheneys, which means, you know, shoot them in the face with a shotgun while saying, go fuck yourself. Psh, go fuck yourself. Psh,
yeah, except instead of birdshot, we'll use buckshot. That'll be a lot more effective.
You know, let's just, you know, go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself.
I mean, if we're going to be accused of, you know, horrible, murderous liberal rage anyway, why not? Yeah. Fuck it.
Let's go Al Capone on it.
You've been waiting for an excuse to use all these gunshots, haven't you?
They come with the box, so... I'm sorry.
Fair enough.
Anywho, we need to auger this baby in. So let me punch this. Let me punch in our. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
All right. So let's do. First of all, birthdays. Let's do birthdays. This week we had June Foray. And I don't know if you know who she is, but I mean, you'll probably know when I play the following clip.
Hokey smoke Bullwinkle, look!
June Foray turned, I believe, 95.
Wow.
And she's still active. She is still doing voice acting. So let's give it to June. You know, I mean, she's an animation legend.
Tonight, of course, we have friend of the show, Wes Smith,
yes.
who I will be going out to get completely inebriated with pretty much as soon as we finish here.
Yeah, please give him a good whack upside the head and tell him that if he's going to say he's coming on next week, he needs to be doubly sure.
Yeah, make sure it's not, you know, his birthday.
He said it would be. He didn't realize. I mean, so wait. He didn't realize it was birthday until Thursday.
He probably didn't think we'd be doing anything until everybody got off work anyway, so he would be free.
Okay, I mean, I'm not that mad. I'm just saying, I will have him back on when he wants. If he wants to come on next week, that's cool. But he needs to be sure, because, I mean, War is getting mad at me. Anywho, Aisha Tyler from Archer plays Lana Kane on Archer, and she's on the Sexy Liberal show. My friend Alex Holm, September 21st. And, of course, Wes Smith, friend of the show, whose birthday was today. We got some big birthdays coming up next week. One of my idols, but we'll save that for next week. So we gotta get. We're running out of time. Plugs. Please catch our affiliates. There is, of course, the Nicole Sandler Show every Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern on her station, Radio or Not. There's Filter Free Radio with Jacob Dean and Skeptical Scott every Monday, 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern. Again, Radio or Not. Excuse me. Talking Left every Wednesday night, 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern. On Wes, what do you think it's on?
Fox News.
Radio or Not. The Shannon Files, Thursdays, 10 to 11 p.m. Eastern on Blog Talk Radio. And the Shannon Files is on hiatus until further notice. AWOP Radio, A World of Progress Radio, Fridays, 10 to 11 p.m. Eastern. The More Me Show, Sundays, 5 to 9 p.m. Eastern on Radio or Not. And, of course, my adopted big brother, Kenny Pick, Turn Up the Night with Kenny Pick, every Tuesday and Friday, 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern. And don't miss the replay on terrestrial radio on WVKO 1580 out of Columbus, Ohio, every Sunday night, 5 to 8 p.m. Eastern. And, of course, there are our blogging peeps, USA Progressive with Ray Medeiros, who we're going to try to get on, and Brad Blog at bradblog.com. And, hey, I didn't fuck up our plugs for once!
Woo! I just make a habit of it.
Yeah. So, yeah, and seriously, we are very, I'm sure I speak for you, Wes, if you disagree with me, feel free to say so, but we are very grateful for the support we've received from Kenny Pick. I mean, when I told him I want to do a show, he was like, whatever you need, I'll do, I'll do voices, I'll make bumpers. I mean, dear God. And we're going to try and get him back on.
Oh, that guy. What, do you think he's going to help us or something? What a jerk.
But seriously, we're going to try and get him back on. And don't forget the debates we are going to be doing coming this fall to Mike Check Radio. Political Science Theater with Adam Hebert. That would be me. With Wes Karskaden. That would be you. And whoever else we can get. We will be live riffing on the debates. So.
Hell yeah.
So, yeah. I've already told Kenny, I need to know if you're available, pal, because you're in on this.
Yeah, I can ask around some good people too. I'll get back to you.
But so yeah, okay. So, we don't have much time. Parting shots, Mr. Karskaden?
I'm really just sick of people the Rush Limbaugh clip. I'm really sick of this term feminists being used as like meaning this like bold-eyed thing.
Hold on,
this image that
he doesn't say feminists. He says feminazis.
Well, exactly. I've heard people who use the term feminazis who are themselves feminists if you listen to the substance of what they believe. That's how ridiculous it is. We need to get media literate enough to realize when words are being poisoned for us. Liberal's a good one, too. Basically, what I guess my real parting shot, my real point is, listen to the language you hear, listen to the language we use, and understand what those words really mean.
Okay. My parting shot. Damn, I do all the preparation. I still can't do a parting shot. Mitt Romney sucks ass.
Yeah, fuck that guy. That was my first choice for parting shot, was fucking Mitt Romney, but then I decided I just had the idea come to mind.
Yeah, so we forgot to play the new Mike and Raleigh bit. I can't believe that. We'll do that in the post show, or do you have to leave right after?
I'm gonna have to go pretty quick because I'm about to go meet the others and do some heavy drinking.
Do you have at least 10 minutes, or?
I don't know, man. I'm kind of in a hurry.
Okay.
Saturday night time is kind of at a premium right now.
No, I understand. Yeah. So yes, Mitt Romney sucks ass. That is my parting shot. Deal with it.
Well, I agree with it.
Anywho, we're gonna wrap it up. Pretty quick. Wes will probably stick around for a couple minutes while we plan and do our voodoo that we do so well before I send him off to get drunk. So yes, we will see you next week on our next sorry, and Snorky points out, ooh, feminazis, leather bustiers, thigh-high boots, crotchless pants. What's the problem? Actually, I would save the bustiers for formal occasions, especially if they're stainless steel. If they're stainless steel,
bustiers are obviously everyday wear.
Oh, well, if I take all the word, there is reason
I wear
why
one every day.
Anywho, we're gonna get going. Everyone have a great week. And don't forget, The Avengers comes out on Blu-ray and DVD this Tuesday. Pick it up. We don't usually pimp movies, but The Avengers was an awesome movie. I think we can all agree on that. Right?
I can get behind that.
All right, so here we go.
Time for go to bed. Aye, it is late. Shall we retire?
Goodbye, my friends. Goodbye to you all. I'll never forget you. Live in peace.
Goodbye, all. Stay happy and good luck.
On our way to great adventures.
Get out of here! Disgusting worm!
Push the button, Frank.
Get you next time, Gadget. Next time.
Visitors, thank you for your attendance.